What's up, soul family? Carlina here. We are about to embark down the path of Sagittarius season. This season runs from November 21st until December 20th, and so we're just at the beginning of this fire energy. Let's get into it. So Sagittarius is like this joyful corner that we just turned, because each season begins picking up basically where the last one left off. So Scorpio invited us to dig deep, to go into the subconscious mind, to use our intuition, and to be guided through possibly some heavy or dense stuff. For some of us, it was really exciting and transformative, but Sagittarius is like this optimistic, like joyful energy that starts to wash over us collectively. Now, this doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to feel joy or guaranteed to feel optimistic. It just means that this is the quality of energy that exists during this time, and that it's easy for us to tap into it if we do the work to get there. Sagittarius season is also about expanding our consciousness. It's a powerful time, especially after this 11/11 portal and everything that's happening astrologically. Events that we haven't seen in hundreds of years are happening now. All of this energy is lining us up to grow and expand exponentially. And so there are three qualities that you can kind of consider are like subsets underneath the Sagittarius, and that's the philosopher, the student, and the wanderer or the adventurer. And we're going to kind of unpack each of these to learn the wisdom that Sagittarius has for us. So the philosopher is the quality that we all have to be able to zoom out from a situation that might seem really intense or scary or induces fear, and to zoom out to see the bigger picture. So Sagittarius energy is about manifesting this idea, and not only manifesting an idea but embodying it, that everything that's happening is happening for me, not to me. And this requires a little bit of intellectual thought and also faith to believe in these theories or energies that everything is working out as it should. And with that energy, it's only going to help raise your vibration to pull you out of a situation where you can get easily stuck and kind of go down this downward spiral of energy from feeling, perhaps it starts off with sadness and then anger and then resentment and then jealousy and then shame and guilt, and it goes all the way down and down and down. And so if we hold in our pocket that we are able to be philosophers, to step back and critically think about the situation and to coach ourselves through it, it allows us to find the strength and empowerment that nothing is happening to me, everything is happening for me. And the other quality is the student or the archer. Like if you look at the imagery of Sagittarius, it's usually depicted as an archer. And this means that in order to be an archer, this is like a fine-tuned craft, and you have to be willing to sit down, do your work, and study and study and study to hit that nail on the target, or arrow on the target, if you will. And so the archer or the student is this notion that we must always be growing in order to move forward. That when we get stuck, it's because there's a contraction of energy. We root our feet into the ground and love our comfort zones, and we don't want to step outside of them. And that energy constricts us instead of creates expansion. And expansion is taking up space. It's about expanding what we know and broadening our horizons. And so the student in Sagittarius is going to invite us to not only do the work, meaning spiritual work, but also perhaps picking up reading or watching videos like these and educating ourselves. Like you're already doing the student work if you're here witnessing this video, this transmission. And that's all the student energy is asking for, to continuously be growing and transforming without any extra layers of shame or shoulds, or I could be doing this, but instead I'm doing that. All of those are limiting beliefs, but instead tapping into the power that we have to learn and grow and expand our consciousness. The other quality is the wanderer, and this is one of my personal favorites, not only because I love to travel, but because spiritually I love to do this work of adventure seeking. And the wanderer is this notion that we are guided down this path based off of our energy and our past life. And so any situation that we're presented with, we can consider that we've actually manifested that reality into our lives with the energy that we are giving off to the world. And this is usually things that don't have to do with other people. So things like a loss or perhaps a misunderstanding. We can't control anyone else's energy, but if it has to do with us losing a job or getting into a car accident or some other experience that has to do with our physical vessel moving through space, we want to consider that we are actually calling in all of these types of energies to match the energy that we have within us. And so Sagittarius is a really empowering message that we are walking down this path, continuously putting information out into the ethers. And all of this information holds a vibrational quality. And based off of our vibrational quality, we're going to only get back more of what we're putting out. What we give is what we receive. And in a spiritual sense, we can't make a wrong choice. And so Sagittarius asks us not to add layers of guilt or shame around our choices or even our energetic vibration, but instead to recognize that when we're met at a crossroads, when we get to 2 points where we could split off and go left and split off and go right, we can't make a wrong choice, because ultimately both paths are going to lead us to that end destination of whatever the lesson is, because at the start our energetic vibration is the same. So whether you go to the left or you go to the right, it's as if literally you're adventuring down a path. When you go left, there's different things to see. When you go right, there's going to be different things to see. And neither of them are wrong or bad. They both hold the same energetic quality that we were giving off when we started the path. And what's amazing is as you wander and as your vibration shifts and changes, you might think you're still staying on the path that you originally set out to be on, but as soon as your vibrational energy changes, you're going to shift somewhat to another path. And so what this means is we can't actually make a wrong choice. There are no wrong choices. We are essentially following the lines of energy that are pulling us to that end destination or end lesson. And so there's so much growth that can happen here when we remove the idea that, what do I do? I'm going to make the wrong choice. It's my whole life at stake. And just take a step forward, take that leap of faith, choose a path. And essentially the best way that you can choose is to follow your intuition. If point A and path A makes you feel maybe shame, or I don't even want to say doubt, because doubt can be really empowering, but maybe path A just holds an energetic vibration that when you sit with your body, you just feel like, that just doesn't feel good. I don't want to do that right now. And not because I'm avoiding it for my growth, but because intuitively it just doesn't feel good. And then maybe path B kind of makes you feel a little bit scared, but there's like an inner knower that's calling you down that pathway. And that's the wanderer, just asking us to follow that little thread, that little push towards the pathway that feels a little bit better. And again, fear can be there. That means it's going to turn into courageousness. There might be self-doubt, but that means it's going to be a path of discovery of your own self-worth. All these lower vibrational energies are going to exist on both paths, but follow the one that your intuition is calling you towards. And trust that even if you go towards the path that you felt doubt around, it's still not a bad choice. So to sum all of this up, Sagittarius season is this joyful, optimistic energy that comes after Scorpio. Scorpio is about dismantling structure, to allow old ideologies and beliefs to fall away, to do the deep, deep shadow work. And this is laying just an empty foundation. Sagittarius is asking us, okay, what's next? And with this exciting attitude of, oh my gosh, we're going to go down a new pathway. The path has been cleared from the transformation of Scorpio. Now, what am I going to do with it? And along this pathway, trusting that whatever choices I make are going to serve my highest and best good. Even if there's something that feels painful or illuminates a shadow side of myself, I'm using my philosopher mentality and trusting that there is a purpose to all of this, that there is a reason why I'm learning this lesson, and that it's happening for me. And as we continue down the path, Sagittarius energy, that energy of the wanderer, is asking us to look for clues that we're on the path. These clues might show up as numerology or synchronicities that we might brush off as coincidence. But there are no coincidences, there are only synchronicities. And when we allow ourselves to tap into that subconscious inner knower, it not only creates that feeling of optimism, but it also validates and creates safety for our subconscious mind when we start to identify, wow, that seems like a message and I needed to hear that. And that, having that in your pocket, can allow for this feeling of safety and trust. All right, so we got all of that information, and that's well and great, right? But how do we embody that and step into full power? So these are some of my favorite practices that I love to do during Sagittarius season that will allow you to feel that joyful optimism, to critically think about your scenario, and to move down the pathway with trust and ease. One of the best ways that we can do this is first just starting with gratitude. A daily gratitude practice is incredible to raise your vibration and is one of the more higher vibrational thoughts that many find accessible. And gratitude is a feeling. So at night, it's the best time after your day. So you have a full day to reflect upon. And just journaling, write it down on paper. 3 things that you are grateful for that happened that day. And it could be as simple as having access to clean water or access to soft sheets and a warm bed. It doesn't have to be these big revelations. It's actually more advised to start with the smaller things that are maybe connected to getting your basic needs met or feeling contentment. Another practice is to flip the script in our minds. So our subconscious, if we're living in a space of doubt or worry, our subconscious is continuously looking for reasons to validate that fear. But a good practice we can do is to flip the questions that our subconscious mind asks us. So a common question with anxiety is, oh my gosh, what if this happens? What if I go down this pathway and then I'll ruin all my relationships and nobody loves me anymore, and like whatever the spiral might be? What if we flip the script and instead of going down that avenue in our minds, to say, what will happen when I'm successful and I feel great? What if I feel joy every day? What if gratitude comes to me naturally? And just by asking that question, your subconscious mind is going to answer that question in a really powerful way that can shift your energy. It's amazing. The brain is amazing. We're set up to help ourselves get better. It's just flipping the question and moving away from what ifs. The subconscious mind is almost like a feedback loop where as soon as we start thinking a negative thought, it only takes 17 seconds for that negative thought to gain momentum and turn into thinking. And after about 68 seconds, as soon as you've been ruminating on a subject for 68 seconds, it's now become a mantra or an affirmation that is gaining root in your subconscious mind. And so we want to catch the feedback loop before it spirals down and down and down. And again, it only takes 68 seconds. That's only a 108, like a minute and 8 seconds for that to spiral. And so we want to be mindful every time we notice the brain thinking about things that are pulling us downwards to stop, to flip the what ifs, and to do some type of practice to bring us back to that higher vibrational state of thinking before the feedback loop draws us down a downward spiral. Now, after a minute and 8 seconds, if the thoughts are still there, you're not guaranteed to have a bad day at all. There is still potential to shift your day around. But being mindful and practicing this state of awareness is like strengthening a spiritual muscle so that eventually you won't end up down this downward spiral and suddenly catching yourself in a bad day when you woke up perfectly fine. The last 2 practices that we can do is to acknowledge our progress. Like at this point in time, we are about to step into winter, moving into hibernation mode. Many states are going under quarantine and other countries already have. And it's a time for pausing and honoring rest as well. So this is a fire sign, but it's encroaching upon winter, water element in traditional Chinese element, that restful, introspective period. And so we can balance these energies with allowing ourselves to stop and pause and recognize just how far you've come. It's amazing everything that you've accomplished. And just by sitting and contemplating and maybe even journaling on all of the steps that you've made so far, no matter how small, are worth acknowledging and worth stopping for. And this stop allows you to catch your breath, feel the fire so that you can keep going, and not with this like strong, relentless fire energy, unless that's what you want, but also balancing it with steady steps forward and introspection and rest as well, because you're so deserving of rest. Oh my gosh. The other final piece is seeking out a soul family, like looking for people that help raise your energy up, that allow you to feel your fullest, most alive, vibrant self. And, you know, we can't just avoid everyone in our lives. Maybe it's family members or a significant other that might be channeling their negative energy in our space. But what we can do is flipping the script even in our conversations. And from a space that's not righteous, but self-aware. That if we notice the conversation veering towards a negative space, what can you do with your personal energetic power to guide the conversation back towards something that feels more like love, or like gratitude, or like acknowledgement, or contentment, or joy? And just by shifting the conversation and keeping your energy vibrating on this high vibrational disc, you're gonna allow the other person that you're speaking to feel the same. And so we don't have to cut out all of our relationships. We can still hold the relationships that we love near and dear to our hearts, but continuously working towards this energy that is positive and high vibrational, because at the end of the day, that makes us feel good. And that will radiate and allow us to call in these new relationships, call in this new soul family that we are seeking. And just because you're here, you're a part of my soul family, I'm a part of yours. We're building a community here of light workers and healers and those who are on the adventurer, archer, philosopher lifestyle throughout this season. All right, y'all, I hope this video provided you with some tools and some Sagittarius wisdom to help you on your spiritual path and for you to ultimately tap in and do whatever work is unique to you. All of these tools, maybe you're gravitating towards one versus another, or a few of them really light you up. Follow that thread of energy to get started on this path of healing. And if you feel a little bit lost of like, what were you talking about with Scorpio? Where did we just come from? Be sure to go back and watch the Scorpio video. Even though we're not in Scorpio season, it's never too late and always a perfect time if you're called to it to go back and witness the transmissions about Scorpio energy so that you can understand where we just came from energetically to step into this new shift of energy in Sagittarius. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to have lots more of transmissions each season for the zodiac, as well as some full and new moon guides and other rituals and practices that we can do to stay vibrating high on our high vibrational disc, because life is too short to be on that downward spiral. Hope you'll have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you soon.